what Tommy said is so critical. And I think before we get started, you have to understand what makes America, America, and what makes America so different than, a lot of other countries. I don't know how many of you guys have traveled, but a lot of third world countries, they don't have opportunity. So unfortunately, if you're not born, into wealth, it's not going to happen. You have absolutely no chance of, social mobility. Like, you can't go from one economic bracket to another, and so I think that's what makes, 5 links and what makes this opportunity, a blessing. And listen to me, it's one thing you'll learn about me, like, for real, I'm transparent. Like, I don't, my motives are pure. I'm not doing this because I'm trying to get something from you. For real, the truth is the truth. Like, I run a multi-million-dollar company, but I don't have opportunities for people. Like, I don't have 5 and 6 jobs where people can make millions of dollars. Like, I just don't have that opportunity. Now, I'm doing well for myself, but again, I don't have opportunity. We do a lot of work with kids in the summer, internships, etc. We've hired a few people. We just hired 2 new people, but trust me, they don't have the potential to make millions of dollars. Do they have the potential to make a difference and make a good salary? Absolutely. Will their lives be changed economically forever? I'm sure. But you talk about the potential for unlimited resources. Like, I don't have that opportunity. And so the thing that makes 5 links such a blessing is that there's no cap. There's no salary cap, other than you. So I just a couple things that I wanted to talk about tonight, because we'll get into the training, later. But I wanted to say, first of all, many of you have found excuses to lose, and now I need you to find an excuse to win. And I mean that with all my heart. Again, I'm going to say it slower because I just want to make sure everybody catches it. And you're like, who does this relate to? This relates to anybody on the phone, and again, what I do, which is so unique, we talk about taking people from average to good, from good to great. So I don't care who you are on the phone. My thing is, okay, so you're a millionaire, but are you a millionaire with your wife? Are you a millionaire with your husband? Are you a millionaire in your health? Are you a millionaire in your spirituality? So it's one thing to be a millionaire in one area, but I'm about that triple double. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't mean anything if you're making millions, and in terms of your personal health, you're not where you need to be in terms of your personal health. Or it doesn't make a difference that if you're making millions and your kids can't stand your guts, and so this is for everybody. So we're talking about not finding an excuse in any area, because some people say, well, I'm making good money, I'm traveling all over the world, I don't have time for my kids. Well, that's an excuse. And so one of the things I want us to just think about tonight is, for many of you, in some area, you have found an excuse to lose. And now I invite you, I challenge you to find a way to win. All right. So no more excuses. At this point, we're going to make some adjustments. I study 5 links, and not just today. People have called me, and I tell people all the time, for real, if I didn't have my own product, trust me, what I'm saying, this would be something that I would be involved in. I'm just at this particular time in my life, just on a different journey. But I do want to share a couple things with you. And I know, like, for those of you who, I don't know where you are with the company, how much but for real, in a 4-year period, I'm talking about during a recession from 2008 to 2012, the company grew by 800%. So 5 links works. And the question that I want to ask people tonight, is not about if 5 links work. It's about, do you work? It's about, do you work? And one of the things that I do for people is, when we talk about opportunities, I believe everybody has an opportunity. I really do. I believe that throughout the course of a year, there are people who have multiple opportunities. So that's really not the question, though. The question is, who are you and what are you doing with those opportunities? So I'm a high school dropout. Many of you know my story. Homeless for 2.5 years. I went to Oakwood College, on a GED. And, quite frankly, Loved the institution, had a great experience, but, you know, from an academic standpoint and whatever else, I wasn't the most likely to succeed. You know, I wasn't in USM. I didn't have any, you know, political affiliations. I didn't achieve a whole lot. I was a third leg to the Bell Tower Ministries. You know, I didn't get the greatest start. My mom, you know, high school, barely graduated from high school, had me at 18 years old, got pregnant at 17, didn't meet my biological father until I was 30. You know, so I realized, though, after a while, my inability to capitalize on the American dream had nothing to do with opportunities. It had everything to do with I wasn't the right person. You know, so I just want to encourage you, you know, 5 Links, they have proven their success. You know, they've been around. They've been stable. You know, in the last year, the company did over $130 million, you know what I'm saying, in sales. And from what I've studied, they're projected to be like, I think, $1 billion, you know, in the next 5 years. So, I mean, I want to help those who Damon, you know, and Saccone have commissioned me to support. And I want you to be able to take advantage of this because, you know, Tommy said it earlier, like, for real, somebody's going to make money. Somebody is going to break the cycle. You know, somebody is going to do what has never happened before in 2014. Like Damon said, I just got the news today, #1 audio book in the last 6 months, finalist. You know, I broke the cycle. Nobody in my family, you know, has an advanced degree. I'm a few months away from a PhD, working on my dissertation. And I don't say these things to brag. I say it that if somebody like me who started from where I started from has the ability to capitalize off opportunities, and I didn't have a 5 Links. Like, for real, he said it. I didn't have a Thomas Felder. I didn't have that. I didn't have a person who I could pick up the phone and call. There are people you could pick up the phone and call. Like the blueprint. He physically gives you the blueprint. Like, I never had that person. I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have a Mr. Miyagi. I had to grind on my own, read on my own, study on my own. So if I would have had a Tommy in what I'm doing right now, I probably would be where I am 5, 6 years ago easily. So you guys have a unique, you know, opportunity. But again, the question is, are you willing to get out of your way? All right.